Why do we innately seek to have meaning? And more importantly, why do you seek to have meaning in life? It's also important to ask yourself that if there was no meaning, would you still be able to live your life? Before we continue with the video, I wanted to put a little disclaimer about what I mean and what I'll be talking about with meaning. There's nothing wrong with meaning in general, and I personally believe in it. But what we're specifically talking about with meaning is if we need it for every single event and aspect in our lives. Personally, I think in the world itself, and you can disagree with me, this is what these videos are for, but I think we overuse and oversell meaning. I think we use it too much. We use it as a coping mechanism. We use it as an excuse, and we use it to justify pretty much every aspect of our lives. But I think that's sometimes incorrect on certain things. And again, I'm not bashing anybody's beliefs, anybody's religion, or anything that deems that their life is theirs. Again, I'm not here to make concrete ideas. I'm here to help people question what they think they know and just to ask themselves what they really believe. Because to believe something, you really need to have the facts and evidence for yourself. And that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to help you ask questions about your own beliefs and your own systems so that you can further understand what you want to actually know. Let's start with what the word meaning means. Somewhere on the screen, I'm going to put probably Merriam-Webster definition on there. But meaning has to be something about yourself. So let's talk about what I believe it means. I personally believe what meaning is trying to subject to us is a connection between events. If something happens to me, there has to be a reason for it in the future. It needs to express something to me. It needs to have some sort of intention. It must be something that is innately there because I need it to grow as a human in the future. And I want to reiterate from this disclaimer. If you disagreed with what I just said, or if you agreed, I want you to pause the video and just ask yourself why you disagreed or why you agreed. And don't just say because I did or because I didn't. Really go through the information. What did you like about it? Nitpick what I am saying. Because whether or not you believe in meaning, it could change your mind or it could strengthen your own ideology. Let's start with my first talking point, which is the human need for meaning. I always believed this for a pretty long time, even probably in middle school and high school. Probably not with the vocabulary that I do now, but I always thought that we kind of used meaning to justify our suffering, whether it be ourselves, someone closely related to us, or things that we see. Why did this happen to me? It must be because blank, blank, blank will happen. Or let's talk about gambling, even like it make it a lighter subject. Why did I lose so many times in a row? I must have a chance of winning soon, so I got to keep on gambling. And we use this for all sorts of things. But again, it kind of boils down to suffering. But of course, there's other points of meaning too, which we'll touch upon later today. But where does this come from? Why do we do that? Well, I think all of us, including me, and I've only recently broke out of this a few years ago, we hate the fact that life is random and chaotic. It's actually a terrible feeling. I've gone through it myself, and only recently have I gotten over the fact that I can't really control everything. We really want to use meaning as a way to guide us into the future. And sometimes I like to say that it's kind of like a coping mechanism, depending on how you use it. And there's nothing wrong with that if it helps you go through life. But I think, again, we're overusing it. It doesn't have to be about everything necessarily. Maybe it is there for everything, and maybe it's not. So let's talk about what I mean there. Let's touch back on randomness and chaos. I used to personally believe that anything about my life I can control and I can manipulate. Well, the word manipulate's a little bit weird, but in terms of my own life, I get to choose the course of where I go to college, how I get my education, where I get my knowledge, things like this. And I think that's innately true, where you can control those things. But when you go to do those things, do you control everything? For example, if I go to college and there's only one class available, I kind of have to take that class. I can't just take the semester off and wait more time. I'm on a time limit here. So I'm kind of forced into this random spot. Maybe not a good analogy. Let's talk about something else. You're talking about a relationship. You feel like you've done everything right. And your partner also tells you that there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfect. The perfect height, beautiful looks, you're smart, you're a gentleman, or vice versa. And they break up with you. Is that your fault? Did you do something wrong? Are you searching for some reason that you had to do something wrong for them to break up with you? I mean, that's what I did, but it's out of your control. You can't do anything about it. It's random. It's just not there for you. And some people might look for meaning behind that, but that's not what the point of this is talking about. We're talking about randomness and chaos, which is similar to what meaning is. So basically, what I'm saying here is that humans don't like this randomness that occurs throughout life. And because of this randomness that occurs, we need to have some sort of meaning that allows us to cope with what just happened and or to give us some guide so we can further go through our life without feeling miserable about that event. So the next section that I would like to talk about is things that we innately find beautiful. The things that I want to talk about are mostly music and then the sunrise and the sunset. I think for a lot of us that music is innately beautiful. Of course, there's good and bad songs, but let's talk about the stuff that we really like. That music that's playing in your head right now, your favorite song that you currently are listening to. Does there need to have a meaning for it to be a beautiful song? And there's a really big importance here. Meaning in the music is different from meaning in life. For example, the artist's purpose of writing the song. The meaning of the song is for my mother who works super, super hard, right? That's the meaning of the song. But do you, as a listener, need that meaning for you to listen to this song that you really, really enjoy? And I would probably say no. You don't need a specific meaning about why did I find this song? Why am I listening to it right now? Why do I what's the word? I got to cut this video part out. The word is resonate. Why do I resonate with this music? And then same thing with when you see a beautiful sunrise or a beautiful sunset. Does there have to be some ulterior reason for you to see this beauty of a sunset, this beauty of a sunrise? Maybe me seeing this right now is to give me hope, to give me something that makes me happy so I can move forward. Or can you just enjoy it for what it is? Can you bask in its beauty? To see the sunset dip below the horizon while the colors change through the sky. Do you need something there? Would you call this perfection? That's where I want to go to next. Perfection doesn't need to have meaning, in my personal opinion. I think we all seek to find perfection in something, in some aspect of our life. But do you need a reason for you to want to get better at something? I don't think you do. If I wanted to get better at a sport, I'm going to practice it because I want to. It makes me feel better through the struggles, through the falls, through whatever. If I want to listen to this beautiful piece of music and it's amazing, do I have to have a reason to listen to it? No. I can just listen to it if I'm sad, if I'm happy, if I'm driving the car. It does not matter. We need to separate perfection from meaning. You are the one that got you to that perfectionist state, not because something gave you the meaning to get there. So, what does that mean for the video? Meaning is a after event. We don't put meaning before. We put it on after something that just happened. And we'll bring this back to the suffering argument. I just recently lost my dad. And how do I make myself feel better about that? I tell myself there's got to be a meaning behind it. Why me of all people? Why do I have to go through this at a young age? Why does my father have to pass away when he was amazing? Meaning comes after an event. And that's really, really important that we recognize. Let's re talk about my definition of meaning, and then you go ahead and go through what your definition of meaning is as well. Mine was a connection or relationship between events. To give yourself a reason for something, an intention for something, and to express something as something else to help you move on from that critical event that just happened, whether it be good or bad. But the question that comes up from this is if we need that. I personally think that not every single event in my life or in your life needs to have a direct meaning. Thus is why I say that we force meaning onto everything. So let's talk about it. First of all, let's understand that the idea and the ideology of meaning is very strong. It helps the whole world, it helps us individually, and it helps groups of people. So don't throw it away. We need it, it's very strong. But because of this super strong force, I don't necessarily think we need to pinpoint it onto every minute thing. Not everything needs to have an inherent meaning. Like I said before, life is filled with randomness and chaos. We have to accept that in all of our lives and understand that some things just happen to happen, not because it has some ulterior idea of meaning. So let's talk about this. I have wonderful friends, and if my friends are watching this, thank you for being my friend because I love you guys. And in my mind, the way I think about my friends are I'm really, really, really lucky to have them. And I use meaning to justify something else because of it. I have terribly bad luck. Terribly bad luck. Okay? And if you're my friend, you probably already understand it. I've lost a coin flip 17 times in a row. I lost a 33% chance of winning on blue, like I think it was 23 times in a row. I have significant bad luck in terms of gambling, but also other things as well. But what reason do I give myself to having this bad luck in those situations. It's because I have such wonderful friends. I love my friends. I do. They're amazing. And I'm super, super lucky. I would say I won the lottery with the friends I have. But what if that's not true? I could just say I met my friends on coincidence, right? I don't need to have some idea like I'm friends with you because something led us together, some energy led us together. Or I could just tell myself that maybe it's just a coincidence. Because I think when you start putting meaning outside of your person is where it starts getting a little bit wrong. Because now you're pushing expectations outside of your body. Meaning is something that you give to yourself and to things that happen to you. But when you start telling yourself that I've met this friend because they are meant to show me this, this, and that, you're in the background, you're kind of setting up expectations for them. And you're leading them into a direction where if they don't meet it, the friendship might be over. So I think it's really important that with giving meaning, we really be careful with pushing it onto other people. Because remember, meaning to me at least is to be innate to your own person. But again, we're going a little bit far from the topic. Before I said something about my father's death, he passed away 2 months ago. So it's still something that I'm trying to get over. And just to make it brief, because this video is not about my father, I couldn't find a reason behind why he had to go during this time. There's so many things that he wanted to see through me. I have a girlfriend and we're happily in love and we're looking to get married in the future and have kids. My father also loved her and he was super excited to, in the future, see our beautiful kids and to go to our wedding. But he also had expectations from me. He always said that I was smart, he was proud of me, and that he knew that in the future that I would be really successful in life. I'd have all this money because I'm a hard worker, and I do all these things. But with all that being said, I couldn't find it. I couldn't find a meaning behind this death when my father had so much he wanted to see. And at a certain point, I stopped. I stopped thinking about meaning and I just told myself that I kind of don't need it. I don't need to have a meaning behind that death. And if there is one, I'll find it in the future. But I should stop forcing myself to try to find it because there's other things that I still can do. I can work hard, make sure that these expectations my father had, I can live up to them. That I can marry my girlfriend and have beautiful kids, where I can start my own business and be successful like he wished. I can use it as a driving factor for me to continue to strive to be stronger. But now this kind of puts us into a loop here. Maybe the meaning behind his death was to push me into this direction. But then what about his meaning? What was the meaning behind my father's death? Why did he have to go? It's not about me. Why did his death have to go now to push me forward? I don't have an answer to that. I can take the meaning behind what I just said and use it as motivation, but it's not a meaning that I inherently like. I think there has to be some sort of nuance to that. There has to be something stronger and bigger than that. But again, I can't find it. So instead of me over searching and forcing this, I use something else. My own ideas, my own ideology. We don't need to force meaning onto everything. Sometimes life is just random, and we have to accept that things are out of our control. Let's talk about some other things before this video ends. I want to tell all of you again, and I'm pretty sure I made it clear in the video, but I want to and I do believe in meaning. I personally think it's real and not something that we made up for ourselves. Whether that idea is right or wrong, though, isn't important. We have to be open minded. I don't think anybody can 100%. And if you really think everything in life is 100%, then maybe these types of videos aren't for you. We need to be open minded and really think that what if it isn't real? What if life is just life itself? If it's not there, does that mean life is pointless? I don't think it does. If meaning never existed to me, I would still live life happily as I do now. I would go through the struggles that I do, use them to strengthen my ideas and to help me grow, and I'd live through it happily. I don't need meaning to exist for me to have a life on this planet. But let's talk about the other side where there is meaning. Does meaning to you have to attach to everything? Or can you accept the fact that life is indeed random and chaotic? Can you accept that? Let's talk about some other types of meaning. So, my meaning was attached to events, but let's attach this meaning to something else, to connections with humans. Now, this counteracts one of my points I made previously about friends, but if these meanings are attached to other people, this idea has to create something bigger because everything is kind of meshing together. Everything is intertwined with a web because my connection with my friend, and then my friend has a connection with somebody else, and somebody else has a connection with somebody else. That would mean all of our meanings, all of the things that we go through in life are attached, which means that there's some outer universe, there's some outer power that connects all of us. But if you do believe that, does that mean every single encounter you have has meaning? That stranger that walked past you, was there a meaning behind that encounter? I don't know. Maybe there is, maybe there's not. Because you won't know until later down the line. That waiter or waitress that was at your restaurant, did that have meaning as well? I think even with this type of meaning, this definition, I still don't believe that all of these have to have a meaning behind it. And lastly, we have the last thing where some of you might be thinking as well, where meaning doesn't exist. And meaning not existing means that life has nothing. There's no point in living if there is no meaning. Now, I said that before, right? I don't believe in that. I think that I can live through life without meaning. I don't necessarily need it. But a lot of people do. But I think some people need to realize the ones that create meaning for their existence so that they can live through the life they have. Realize that meaning can't be used as a coping mechanism. Meaning is something well beyond that. Well beyond that. And of course, some things just coincidentally, here's that word again, do just happen with your life. And it coincides with a bad event. And I'm not disregarding that. That can be. But if you're pinpointing meaning to every bad thing that happens to you, I think you're overusing it. You're forcing it down your life. And overusing meaning could lead you into even worse situations. So the video is getting a little bit long, but let's end with a couple of notes. It doesn't matter whether or not you think meaning is real or if it's not. People have different opinions, people have different ideas. But what is life supposed to be for you? In my opinion, life is about your feeling, how it feels to live. Now, again, I know there's a lot of people out there who are in bad circumstances, but can they find something that makes them want to live? Whether that be a limelight of meaning or maybe just a person. Not everything has to boil down to a meaning. Beauty. The things that we see in life, the things that make us happy, the events that happen, the people we meet, and the things that we see, they don't all need to have an inherent meaning. We don't need a reason for everything. And I think that sometimes life needs to just be given to what it is. It's random, and sometimes it's chaotic. And we should accept that. It's not in our control all the time. And there's not a grandiose meaning behind it. So let's go back before we end this video. Be open minded. I am not correct. I am not, oh, maybe I am wrong. I'm not correct. I'm not wrong. I'm just stating questions here. The beliefs you have, the ideas you want, agree to disagree with me. But don't just do it for no reason. Give yourself time to respond to what I'm saying. Is he correct about this? Is he wrong about this? We need to further our own opinion. We can't just agree to everything. We need to strengthen our ideologies so we better understand ourselves. So, let's get the last ending line because we need that for the end of the video. Let me pull it up. Okay. Life doesn't need a reason to be beautiful. Just like our reoccurring sunsets and sunrises, it isn't about what the meaning of life is, but why do you need that meaning? And ask yourself this one last thing. Imagine if meaning didn't exist, that it wasn't real. Do you think that makes your life meaningless? Does it make it a waste of time? Is the meaning the reason that drives you to wake up every day? Hey guys, so before we get to my like and subscribe video at the end, if there's anything that you guys want my opinion about or want me to specifically talk about or give my idea on, I'm perfectly fine with doing so. I want to create a community where we are open-minded enough to ask questions that may be something silly, maybe something stupid, maybe something deeper. The purpose of these videos are to help everybody around the world just question the knowledge around the internet in what they see, but to also strengthen your own ideology. Everybody has their own worldview. Some of those worldviews coincide with others, whether they be famous people, streamers, or politicians. But we can't just openly accept their worldview. You need to create your own. Not everything is going to align with just what they believe. There's got to be something there that you slightly disagree and or accept. And those are the things that we really need to question about ourselves. So, roll the like and subscribe right now. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. I must have said something that you liked. So maybe you could drop me a like and subscribe and follow my Twitch. I do gaming streams every weekday at night. I would appreciate a follow on there too. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.